We have the potential for multiple double championship fights in 2025. So today on Dodson's Corner, we're going through every single potential double championship fight and predicting who would win each fight.
And the crazy thing is we could see most of these matchups within like the next year or two.
It's weird. It's crazy. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
Who knows? I mean, it's like always exciting because it's a super fight. They're talking about Ilya versus Makhachev. It's almost like, it seems, things get confirmed every other week from Ruben Carter on Twitter now. So who knows at this point?
Yeah, like it's anything that's rumored, it's confirmed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Full Violence posts it, ESPN posts it. It's like, this is just a rumor.
Well, it's crazy that it was seeming like Volk versus Topuria was like 95% confirmed, and now there's all this talk that it's going to be Ilya versus Makhachev soon. So who knows, man? I'm excited for either one. And like you said before we started filming, it's better to get it done sooner than later, because if they miss this opportunity to make Ilya versus Makhachev the highest skilled fight of all time, probably.
Yeah, by far.
It's a big miss if they don't do it, but would have preferred to see it like maybe just like 1 year down the road. But then who knows how the matchups line up. So it is what it is. But let's get started with the first one. Oh, wait.
My dad was listening to that when he was working out yesterday, and I was like, what is
that
going
song?
on? Yeah.
Oh, he's cooked.
I'm like in my room. I don't even know what I was doing. I might have been studying, and I was just kind of like...
You're vibing out?
I was like, I want to know if he's doing the dance. But quickly, I just want to talk about women's MMA. Double championship fights. Zhang Weili wins all of them. Yeah. She just becomes every single champion.
Triple champ. All right.
Triple champ, Zhang Weili. All right. Moving on to our first one, though. Pantoja versus Merab. This one is interesting because... even a month ago, pre-UFC 311, I would have said Pantoja wins this fight.
Oh, really?
Well, we thought that Pantoja was double champ. You know?
That's true.
Fighter of the year, and it's like, oh no, Merab's good.
Merab is, he just has that cardio, Skills out the window. Cardio is just king. I think this one was probably one of the easier ones to predict on this list, just because of what we've seen out of Merab so far. Pantoja is definitely a skilled flyweight, like one of probably going to be the second best flyweight of all time, maybe. Mm-hmm. But against Merab, I think he's going to fall victim to pretty much the same kind of fate that every single fighter falls victim to.
Yeah. Pantoja could realistically go in there and win 2 out of the 5 rounds, but it's just like first Merab.
Yeah. And it's like you look at Umar, he's bigger than Pantoja. He's more skilled wrestling-wise. He's more skilled striking-wise. And he couldn't do anything against... well, he could. He did good against Merab, but he couldn't win still. So I'm trying to logic how Pantoja has any chance. And I don't think any of Pantoja's typical game plan would work, because you can't hold him down. You have worse wrestling than him. You have on par striking, I would say.
I would say Pantoja's striking's better.
Maybe a little bit.
I would give him the slight edge in striking, but
Lighter
he's also
man skill.
but he's also smaller. So like when you bring in like length and wingspan, it probably is relatively even.
Yeah, and he has significantly worse cardio.
Yeah.
Like he always looks so tired at the end of the third round. His tongue is literally hanging out in between rounds. So I think Merab would literally break him in the 4th and 5th rounds. Like I think it'd be a struggle to get off the stool for him. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah, it's Merab in this fight.
Yeah. It's just classic. It would be a classic Merab fight.
Yeah, he just 4th and 5th round, he'd be like, oh, not tired.
Yeah. It's a superhuman stat. Like just thinking back to the Umar fight where he's like hyped up at the end of the 4th round when they've been dogging it for 20 minutes.
And that was like such high levels. You know, like that was intense. Like
exactly.
Like the pace was unreal and he's still just fine.
Because he didn't if you think about the Sean O'Malley fight, he actually got rest time on the ground, like kind of, He was kind of holding down Sean O'Malley, not taking up too much energy. In the Umar fight, it was go all the time.
There was no stoppage. There was no holding up against the cage for 30 seconds, a minute, or holding them on the ground. No, it was constant body moving.
Yeah. All right. So we both have Merab in that one pretty decisively, I would say.
Yeah.
49, 46.
Yeah, 49, 48, whatever. But it would be a decisive. It wouldn't be like close split.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to our second matchup. We got Merab versus Ilya Topuria. Now, this one obviously would never happen in real life. The Georgian Brotherhood wouldn't break that code. Dude, is it crazy? On UFC 312, the fight I'm looking forward to the most is Topuria versus Thickness.
I'm looking forward to Jack Jenkins. I want him to get I am so hyped on this guy. I just want to see him win, and then I just want to see like 3 weeks of Jack Jenkins edits.
But just with like the corners, Volk versus Taporia,
Yeah.
it's such a good storyline for their debuts. Kind of crazy. Anyways, back to Marab versus Ilya. I have Ilya in this fight. I'll say it right away.
Oh, it's Ilya Taporia.
Yeah.
Like Marab is that good, like in terms of like his cardio, but when you're up against potentially the highest skilled person in the whole UFC, Marab hasn't faced anyone like Ilya. You know, like Ilya's so strong, Marab would struggle to take him down, and just he'd have to make it through the first 3 rounds versus Ilya, you know, to maybe have that cardio advantage and have an advantage potentially in the fight. And I don't know if you make it that far against Ilya, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like thinking the exact same thing. Marab is the most vulnerable in the first 2 to 3 rounds because he ramps up continuously, and I think Ilya is the most dangerous in the first 2 or 3 rounds, and he kind of goes down a little bit, which is fine. It's normal. So I think I would most likely think a round 2 or round 3 KO by Ilya, especially because we've seen how hittable Marab is in that Umar fight. Like, he was eating big punches, and he has a great chin. I think Marab actually has a very underrated chin. It's very hard to crack, and it hasn't been cracked in a while. But I mean, we've seen Taporia crack a bunch of chins before. So
yeah, it's not like he's out here just cracking people who've never cracked. He cracked Max Holloway.
Exactly.
That's all.
Yeah, so if you're talking about Max Holloway chin versus Marab chin, I think Taporia wouldn't have much of a trouble cracking that. And also the defensive wrestling, you know? It would be similar to how Umar was able to defend takedowns early on. I think Taporia would be able to do the same thing. It's just if it does make it to that later rounds, that's when things start to get dicey.
Yeah, Taporia just has to win the first 3 rounds for sure, or knock him out.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you don't have to worry about Marab submitting you. Like, you don't have to
true.
worry about finish. Yeah, I have Ilya pretty confidently in this one. Let's move on to our next matchup. Something that's inspired this video, Ilya versus Makhachev. Tell me about your thoughts on this one.
This is maybe the hardest fight to predict in the whole UFC right now.
Yeah.
Like, it is actually stupid how hard this is to predict.
That's why it's such a good matchup to make.
Like, if this fight actually happens, I'm just going to pick whoever Lucas doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I know I have a feeling he's going to pick Ilya.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's more his guy.
I have to.
So I would actually want to pick Makhachev. I think I would pick Makhachev, but the slightest bit, just because the experience, you know. But I saw this video. It's like this little hype package talking about it, about this fight. Like, someone made it, talking about how, like, you know, they've always been looking for the guy to beat the Dagestani king. You know, like, they thought it was Conor. It wasn't Conor, but now it could be Taporia, you know, and it's like we've been looking for so long for the guy to beat them. Yeah. You know, no one could beat Khabib. I mean, we don't count that early loss for Islam. No one has beaten Islam. You know, it's like, who's gonna do it?
Yeah, no, the edits have already been so sick. Like, man, people are cooking on Instagram, but I decided to go with Ilya because this one is 50-50. Like, I understand both sides. It's really if you just believe that Ilya could crack Makhachev. And I think he definitely has that possibility, which is why I think a lot of Makhachev fans are scared about this matchup.
Oh, 100%.
You know, if their GOAT gets KO'd by a featherweight, they wouldn't be able to live that down.
How would Khabib react if Ilya got cracked?
He'd hop the cage again. It would be 229 all over.
The videos about how they have someone in their corner to hold down Khabib is crazy. Like, dude, just don't sit down. Like, he is more hyped up than anyone else.
I think he has ADHD or something.
Best base for
yeah, it's
for
true.
UFC's autism.
It's true. Yeah, realistically, I think that Makhachev has like an easier game plan to victory because he has that stronger wrestling base than Taporia, especially in the UFC and chain wrestling and against the fence. So the simple game plan for Makhachev is to hold Ilya down for as long as possible. But, you know, Dustin Poirier was able to survive for pretty much the entire majority of that fight into the 5th round. He did, you know, Makhachev did submit Oliveira, which is probably like the biggest accomplishment in his career. That's something that pretty much no one else has been able to do, and to do it in such a dominant fashion. But I also think that a lot of the arguments I see against like Ilya versus Makhachev is that Ilya's been taken down by Bryce Mitchell. Ilya has gone the full distance with a guy like Josh Emmett and Youssef Zalal. And I totally like they're valid arguments, but I totally disagree in the sense that fighters improve, and especially when they're 26 and 25, which is when Ilya had some of those earlier fights against, Yusuf Zalal was his first fight in the UFC, and he was coming off COVID, and it was short notice. So yeah, of course he's going to get gassed in the third round and look pretty bad. So I hate the narrative that Ilya's had like these tough fights because, dude, if you want to go back in time, Makhachev's been sparked out cold.
Yeah, Makhachev's lost.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, we can play this game of going back and forth. Makhachev has had tough fights with lesser opponents as well. It's how it all goes on the night, the training camp, the cut. Like, there's so many factors that maybe affect the fight.
Mm-hmm. And I think that one thing for me that you have to take into account is Ilya's the smaller guy in this fight. Ilya's the guy that has to bump up. I know that since Ilya is so big in his off season that it may not be a huge difference, but like 3-4 inches in terms of height difference here. So, it's so close. And then Makhachev is the true lightweight, whereas Ilya is that featherweight moving up. And, we saw it twice with Volk, It's tough. It's tough to move up. There's a reason that we have weight classes for a reason, so that guys are having a division where they're able to, like, best fit in, and if Ilya moves up to lightweight, we don't know how he would be in lightweight too. There's the unpredictability of that. He could be the exact same fighter. And I think that's a real possibility, but there is that chance that he just doesn't fit in lightweight,
Yeah, that's true. But the Volk fight, I think, is a pretty good indicator. Like, Volk moved up, and he's shorter, like maybe 1 inch shorter than Ilya. They're pretty much the same height, and his cardio actually improved a little bit because he didn't have that crazy cut, and Makhachev did have a crazy cut. So you saw like that cardio difference, and that's why Volk was kind of able to outmuscle Makhachev in some of those situations. I think if you take the wrestling to Makhachev, it's a little bit of a different fight rather than being a Dustin Poirier or in the future a Justin Gaethje, who's always ready to stuff the takedowns, which kind of lowers your guard from strikes from Makhachev. So I think Topuria has the best chance out of any current roster fighter to beat Makhachev.
100%.
And I mean, it's the fight to make. It would be sick. It'd be so sick.
So for our first difference, Ilya Makhachev.
Yeah. And it is tough to pick the lighter man because...
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But...
next fight might be an easier one to pick the lighter man on.
It's real easy to pick the lighter man.
Makhachev
versus Belal. Like, Belal is big for welterweight. Like, is he 6'1"? 6'1"?
He's about 6, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, Makhachev, what, 5'10"?
Yeah.
So, he's got a few inches on him. But just the skill difference here, Makhachev's better at everything than Belal.
Yeah.
Belal's just bigger. And I'm not worried about Makhachev in terms of size. We know how big Makhachev, how strong he is. Like, Makhachev would dominate Belal. And it's like, what's Belal going to do? I think realistically in this fight, the striking exchanges would be relatively close. Belal's got those hands of Canelo.
That's true.
But Makhachev just on the ground. Belal poses no offensive grappling threat. It's not like he's going to go out there and submit you. That's not his game. Where Makhachev could realistically go out there and submit Belal.
Yeah, I think submitting Belal is almost more likely than finishing him on the feet, as crazy as that sounds for Makhachev at least. Yeah, you're right. Makhachev has the size to go up to welterweight pretty easily, and maybe he even gains a cardio advantage because of he doesn't have to cut 40 pounds. Like, he's probably 200 in the off season. He's cutting 45 pounds to get down to lightweight. So if he only has to cut, 12, don't make me do that math, like 30-ish.
25.
Yeah, 30.
Oh, sorry, 30. Yeah,
30, 35. I think it would be good for Makhachev. I think he would be able to take it to him in the wrestling. He's not going to accept any position on the back. Like, when have we ever seen Makhachev be okay with being on bottom position? Belal wouldn't be able to hold him down, I don't think. We could see a bit of a striking matchup just because they're both so strong in wrestling.
Well, I think Belal would want to keep this fight on the feet.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that he thinks it would be pretty even, but...
it'd be interesting. Like, it's a good matchup,
I think it would be, like, in terms of, like, how the fight would play, it would be similar to, like, a Umar versus Merab kind of fight, where, like... I mean, the early rounds of it, where it was mostly feet, but then like ground exchanges, it was mostly Umar, where I would see it would be Islam mostly trying to take him down.
Right. Yeah. This one's, I think it might be closer than people think. Like, I think it wouldn't be a dominant round ever for Makhachev or Belal. I don't think Belal would hold him down the entire time. I don't think Makhachev would hold him down the entire time. I think it'd be very back and forth, but Makhachev with The striking might just edge it out a little bit, and also just like control time up against the fence. I'd probably favor Makhachev.
All right, moving on. Bilal versus Dricus. This is another one that like I didn't really have to think twice about. It's Dricus all day for me.
He's too big.
He's so strong. He's so weird, and it's like, what is Bilal realistically going to be able to do to Dricus? You think Bilal can hold down Dricus?
No.
Those hips, he's powering through everything.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down. Like, you cannot out bully Dricus. He's too big for you. You can't do him like Gilbert Burns or Leon Edwards. You're not picking Dricus up and spiking him on his head.
Yeah.
I don't think you could even lift that guy.
You're not scoring that try with Dricus's dome Bilal. And it's like Bilal's the lighter man in this fight too. You know, he's the one that's having to come up. What did they fight at? 185s? Yeah, so 15 pounds. Like
that's a big gap.
That's a big gap. And
Yeah.
Dricus is just so big for 185 that like I wouldn't see Bilal having hardly any chance. You know, he's gonna struggle so much to take down a guy like Dricus. And then if he does, keeping him down is another story. And then just Dricus is so weird on the feet, you know, where he's able to like come close to being able to keep up with a guy like Sean Strickland on the feet, and Sean Strickland's a better striker than Bilal and Dricus, you know, and he goes out and wins those fights against these great strikers, Adesanya, Strickland, Whitaker, you know, 3 straight wins against elite strikers, like, and Bilal's not an elite striker, gonna struggle to take him down. It's like, where does Bilal win this fight? Whereas you can see a path for Dricus to win this fight.
Yeah, I feel like Dricus doesn't really do, like, he doesn't have a skill that he's really great at, you know, it's just how he mixes it together, which I think would give Bilal some issues because, you know, you stuff a takedown, maybe you shoot one of your own, get him thinking about that, and then you mix in the blitz of Dricus, which you just keep throwing like Ngannou. Like that one Ngannou clip against Rosenstrike where he's just throwing and throwing and throwing. That's pretty much what Dricus does. And I think once Bilal feels the power of someone like Dricus in a higher division, he might get rocked easier than he has in the past. And then once we see him get rocked, I think he might panic shoot. And then you get a Whitaker situation where Dricus just finishes you because you're trying to grab the legs. You know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of the game plan I see. So I could honestly see a Dricus like TKO in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think that I struggle to find a way to Bilal wins this fight. And I think Dricus could. I doubt he would finish him on the ground. I think Dricus could knock out Bilal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if knock out cold, but like a TKO kind of thing. You know, chin him and then take him down and finish him.
Yeah. All right. Next fight, we got Dricus moving up to fight Pereira, something that Pereira has wanted in the past.
Yeah. Apparently, like, Sean came out and said that Pereira just hates Dricus. They're like, I don't know. Sean was like, I don't know why, but he actually hates Dricus.
It's so weird. He just like hates the technique. I don't know. It's wild.
This one is so tough too. Because, you know, there's obviously a lot of bias in this fight.
Yeah. Well, but the wrestling of Dricus, like that's a huge thing. I think against Pereira, that's obviously the game plan for anyone. We're going to talk about that later when Pereira moves up to heavyweight. I was close to picking Dricus because of that submission ability, like the way that he just got Adesanya down and submitted him super quickly. Like that is something impressive. Pereira's a lot bigger than Adesanya. He's stronger than Adesanya. I would say he's closer to his prime than Adesanya. Like, as weird as that sounds.
Oh, that's a hot take right there for sure.
Dude, like Pereira's older by like 2 or 3 years now, but I still feel like he's way closer to his prime than Adesanya is. You know what I mean?
Adesanya's prime's gone.
He's cooked, man.
Way gone.
Yeah.
This one was so tough. Like, it's like, I think that, like, this is one where you really have to take into account Dricus going up 20 pounds. You know? He's going up 20 pounds to face Pereira. And Pereira is he just looks so natural at light heavyweight. You know? It just fits him, you know? Like, hey, every cut's the same. He comes into every fight looking the exact same. You know, you're not having Pereira looking all sleepy a few days before. You know?
Dude, I saw a picture of Dricus standing next to Michael Bisping, and Bisping was like, I'm a slim or like lean 220, and Dricus is like 3 inches taller or like 2 inches taller than him and like way bigger in size. Like, damn, how big is Dricus? I thought he was only 220 himself, honestly.
Oh, this is off-season Dricus?
No, it was in fight week.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I would think that Dricus walks around at 220.
I think, yeah.
And then Pereira,
185, like easily 220.
I would say Pereira walks around at there was a picture of him just a couple days ago, 236 or something. Yeah. So only a 10-pound difference, really.
But Drickus in that presser was talking like he was half dead. He struggled, which was weird. We hadn't seen Drickus look that bad. Like he made the one pedophile mustache joke.
Bro's tired of carrying press conferences.
That was it.
That was dude. I knew that press conference was going to be bad. When you only have 4 fighters on there, like, what do you expect?
Yeah, and one of them
Justin Toff on there.
One of them Zhang Wei who don't speak English.
Bro, she's actually the goat though. She's learning goat. She's learning English.
She's learning goat.
Anyways.
Oh, I still haven't picked a fighter. I'm obviously going to go Pereira. I can't pick Drickus over Pereira.
Dude, what sold it for me was if Adesanya can make it to the 4th round in his current state against Drickus, I think that Pereira can could either make it to the end of the fight because, dude, we saw his cardio when he was sick as a dog, didn't have a training camp, cut in one day, and at altitude. And this dude schooled Khalil Roundtree in the 3rd and 4th rounds. Yeah. I think that he would pick up the pace, kind of like a Marab type beat in the 3rd and 4th and 5th round if it went to decision, it's now rare for Pereira, but it's possible.
At a super fight, you can't say that it's out of the question. You know, every single fight on this list could go to a decision. You wouldn't be mad.
Especially, yeah, exactly. Especially with Drickus having the wrestling ability. He can always shoot a takedown for safety. But it's like, dude, we've seen Pereira's hands, how big they are. You grab that wrist control. It's not going to be easy to take him down compared to Adesanya.
Yeah, I think Drickus, I think people are underestimating. I think especially after we see this Ankalaev fight, it's going to be even more cemented that, like, Pereira is that good. Like, like, oh, his grappling so bad, but, like, just wait and see. Just wait and see. Yeah. We've been saying this for months. And you thought I got excited when Char Bullet lost. Wait till Ankalaev loses.
Oh, man.
Oh, you were getting so many middle fingers.
Hopefully we don't eat our words here. When is that fight? I know it's in March, but, like, is it?
Oh, it's the week before.
Is it mid-March?
I think it's either the week before I leave or the week after, because I know it's not the week I'm gone.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's either, like, the week of, like, the 8th, or it's, like, the 18th or 17th.
Yeah, that sounds more right. Yeah, the 17th or something. Next fight, we got Pereira. Should we do both heavyweight fights or just one?
Let's do both of them.
All right, Pereira versus Jones.
This one is really easy. It's Jones just schools Pereira.
Dude, I was having trouble picking Jones. Like, obviously Jones shoots instantly, but you don't stand on the feet with Pereira. And Pereira could make it a close fight if he rocks Jones early. There's always that chance that Pereira just lands like a hard left hook and Jones is wobbled in the first round, and then it's just not the same fight anymore. It's obviously more unlikely than it is likely, I would say. But we've seen how slow Jones is now. Like, he's not a fast fighter.
That's true.
Pereira,
he did look so bad.
I know, dude. The pressure of Pereira, he's always coming forward. Jones is not going to be able to land just a jab to keep him back or a spinning back kick. I
can see Jones shooting or, like, trying to land a spinning back kick and just Pereira grabs the leg.
Yeah.
He just grab it. Just
Shama.
Yeah.
And then right hook. Yeah. Like, I would probably, if I had to predict, I would probably pick, like, Jones by submission or probably not ground pound, probably by submission in round 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, Jones is scared of those tall strikers.
Yeah.
Pereira's just the super form of Johnny Walker. So.
Super form? Yeah, dude. It's like, oh, man, I want to low-key pick Pereira.
I think that, like, the heavyweight fights are a lot easier to predict post Ankalaev. Seeing how he looks against Ankalaev.
Yeah, big Ank.
If Ank just doesn't do anything to Pereira, then it's like triple champ incoming. Because, I mean, we can kind of segue into the next fight.
Yeah.
Pereira versus Aspinall. For the longest time, I was Aspinall. I think I'm Team Pereira now.
Really? Okay, I'm still definitely Aspinall for this.
I'm not sold with Aspinall.
No, it's easy Aspinall.
I'm not sold.
He's gonna rugby tackle him to the ground. It's just gonna be over in a couple minutes. I think Aspinall ground and pound finishes Pereira in the first round.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not convinced with what I ever see out of Aspinall. And I'm like, it's like, how good are the heavyweights? How good are they actually?
Yeah, no, I get that. But it's like, Jones is a 235-pound heavyweight.
Yeah.
Aspinall's a 260-pound heavyweight.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a bit of a difference on the ground.
Well, and it's kind of, I think that this is kind of just like, these are all pretty straightforward. So I was like, I need to throw in one wild card, one Hail Mary. And I think that Pereira versus Aspinall, like, I think you could see if this fight stayed on the feet longer than we thought, Pereira could beat Aspinall.
Well, and here's the thing. You saw against Pavlovich how Tom Aspinall got caught pretty quickly, you know? Like, Pereira can easily study that movement because he does it the exact same way.
Yeah, Aspinall is on that half circle, whereas Pereira's movement is so it's way different.
Yeah, exactly. So if you watch a Tom Aspinall fight and Pereira thinks he hasn't figured out right away, who knows? Like, that's the thing with heavyweight. It's not like a game of skill. It's a game of, all right, here we go.
Who's just trying not to get rock challenged.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good video. I'm happy with that.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Go down to the comments. Let us know who you think wins all of these fights and which one of these fights would you want to see the most in the upcoming year. While you're down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing because we appreciate all the love and support. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.